Good morning, my friends. How are you? So, here we are today with, I think, installment 8, is it? In our series on the mystery of death. So, before I start, I'm just sharing with you that I changed my location. So, I hope the internet is working better. You can hear me well, you can see me well, all of that. So, let's hope today works better than before. I also want to I also want to say that this series on the mystery of death is, in my mind, a sequential series. So today we are talking about where do I go when I die? Are ghosts real? And I'll address that. But before I even do that, I just want to say that in my mind, this series, Mystery of Death, is a sequential series, and that if you listen somewhere in between, like you're listening to this for the first time, that's okay, but it might help you to go back to the previous videos in this series. And the reason I say that is that I build upon what I've already said. And frequently I repeat a lot of what I've said in order to make sure that, repetition reinforces what I'm saying. So excuse the redundancy and also excuse the repetition, but it's done purposely to build on what I've already said, reinforce it, and then expand on it. Okay, so today's topic, if you've stayed with me so far, goes a little deeper, and we are going to keep going deeper if that's all right. Hi, Sri Hari. Nice to meet you. Nicole Flashman. Hi. Good to see you. Olga Colado. Good to see you. Myra Lorena. Thanks. Propkar Yadav. Good to see all you guys. Okay, so today's topic, if you're interested. And tell me, anytime you're not interested, tell me why you're not interested. It's useful feedback, and I can either revise or stop this discussion, or reflect on what you say so we can all learn. Okay, today's topic, very important. Where do I go when I die? Where do I go when I die? And are ghosts real? And I'll tell you why both these questions are interrelated, entangled. Okay. Where do I go when I die? So before we even address that, we should ask, where am I now? In order to know where I'm going, where am I now, and where am I coming from? Right? That's the story of a journey. Where am I coming from? Where am I now? Where am I going? Same question applies to death. If I want to know where I'm going, I need to know where I'm now. So if I asked you right now, any of you, if I asked you, Gina Barker, where are you? She would say, I'm in Florida. And if I asked Del Purell, where are you? He would say, I'm in Maryland. Rita Kumar, I from Bombay. Okay, so everybody has an answer. Where are you? I'm in Bombay. I'm in La Jolla. I'm in Bangalore. Who's the I that is in Bangalore? And where is it looking from? So most people, when we go a little deeper into this, will say, I'm here. Where are you? I'm here. Where's Deepak? Over there. Where is that tree, that window? Over there. But where are you? I'm here. So this is the normal response, right? I am is somewhere here inside this encasement of skin, flesh, bones, whatever, but there's a me somewhere inside this body. Some people think it's here, some people think it's here, but I is somewhere inside this body. Okay? And everything else is out there. Okay? Everything else is out there. Now, what is the problem with this conclusion? The problem with this conclusion is that I cannot be found inside the body. So, today we have all these fancy techniques, things like CAT scans and PET scans, and you can label a carbon atom, put it in a sugar molecule, inject it into the body, watch it as it travels everywhere. You can see what's happening in the brain to that molecule. Even as you think, as you feel, as you sense, as you perceive, you can see what's happening to that. It's called the neural activity that accompanies every experience that you're having. So we can see neural correlates of experience. So when you hear something, something happens in your auditory cortex. You see something, something happens in your occipital cortex, etc., etc. So every experience has what we call a neural correlate of that experience in the brain. And of course, whatever happens in the brain has a representation in the body. So all experiences are actually being recorded as neural correlates, but there's no experience happening in the brain itself. In other words, there's no sound in the brain, there's no color in the brain, there's no texture in the brain, there are no images in the brain, there's no taste, there's no smell. There's nothing that we call experience in the brain. Even we can't say that there's thought in the brain or feelings in the brain. All there are neural correlates of that experience. Whether that experience is a perceptual experience of color, shape, form, sound, taste, smell, texture, or it's a mental experience, thoughts, feelings, images, all of that. Nothing like that is happening in the brain, only neural correlates. And what those neural correlates are symbolic expressions of that experience. So experience is not happening in the brain. Where is it happening? That's the first question. And number two, the earlier question, who or what is having the experience? I is having the experience. The problem is I cannot be found in the brain, nor can the experience be found in the brain. Very interesting, isn't it? Everybody's talking these days about out-of-body experiences, when the real mystery is how do we get an in-body experience, but technically speaking, there's no me inside the body. The me feeling seems to be somewhere here, but there's no me inside the body. That's a scientific fact, okay? So is me outside the body? Is me out there? Well, then if me is out there, then how do I feel it's here? Is me outside my skin? Is me inside my skin? If it's inside my skin, then how does it experience outside? If it's outside my skin, then how does it experience inside? Now, scientists will give you all kinds of explanations. Photons are coming from the sun, from the stars. And those photons are going to your eyes and to your brain, and the neural networks are firing, and you see the stars that already exist out there. Not true. Okay. It's a good hypothesis, but where is the experience happening? If it's not happening in my brain, where is it happening? And if I'm not inside the body, then how do I experience the outside of the body? If I'm inside the body, how do I experience the outside of the body? If I'm outside the body, how do I experience inside the body? You see, there's a problem. We have a sense of self, and the sense of self seems to be somewhere here, but can't be found. And the sense of self seems to be maybe sometimes out there, because I can experience out there, but where is it? The self cannot be found, either inside the body nor outside the body. The great mystery is not an outer body experience or an in body experience, but any experience and the location of that experience. What is the location of the experience right now that I'm having? What is the location of sound? What is the location of color? What is the location of emotions, thoughts, feelings, inspiration, insight, intuition, imagery, imagination, creativity, self awareness? None of these have any location, which can only mean that your true self is neither inside the body nor outside the body. Okay. What is the body anyway? The body itself is an experience of shifting sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts, right? But where are these being experienced? How they are being experienced is called the hard problem of consciousness. There is no location for experience or the experiencer. So if there's no location for the experience or the experiencer, then who or what is having the experience? No location implies something very interesting. No location in time, and also no location in space, and no edges to you, which means you are infinite, unbounded, borderless, formless, having an experience of this. How? The infinite, and this can be found by self reflection, but also self transcendence and mindful awareness and many other techniques, yoga nidra, meditation on death. I will show you these if you allow me to as we move on. But through self reflection, self awareness, and self realization, it becomes very clear, very clear that the self, which is infinite, is localizing itself as a point of view. The infinite self is localizing itself as a point of view. Point of view. It's not actually localizing itself, it's localizing only its point of view. Look here, look there, look up, look down, look at your hand, feel your body, think a thought, and the entire system, which we call the universe, is changing its space-time geometry. So who is looking here? Who is looking there? Who is raising the hand? Who is feeling the sensation? Who is having the thought? The infinite is having a thought through a window of perception, interpreting that window of perception. And that window of perception actually includes what we call the body, mind, and the world. Okay. The body mind is not the experiencer. The body mind is part of the experience. The body mind experience and the universe experience is a modification of the self, which is infinite. So it assumes a finite point of view. It doesn't change its location. When you lift your hand, when you utter a word, when you emit a sound, when you look somewhere, when you think a thought, when you have a feeling, when you create an image in imagination, actually it is the infinite adjusting its point of view as the finite experience of this and everything that goes with this, from atom to galaxy, from particle to the entire universe. So when I lift my arm, actually the infinite is lifting this arm by just changing its point of view, by changing its sensations, images, feelings, thoughts. In other words, every experience is a change of state of the entire universe, of the infinite universe, every experience. I blink my eyes and it's a change of state of the entire universe. So I move my hand from here to here. This hand doesn't exist anymore. This hand now exists. And what has actually happened is not even a change in space time or location. What has happened is a change in perceptual activity through a particular window or a point of view of the infinite localizing itself as that particular finite bandwidth of experience. And these changes of state of the entire system are ceaselessly happening. Infinite modes of changes of state. Now, of course, I think we understand changes of state even from a physicalist point of view. Okay, so vapor becomes liquid, becomes solid, on and on. You can look at the vapor, it's water, water is atoms, and atoms are particles, and particles are force fields, and force fields are quantum vacuum. And these changes of state are happening right now, manifesting as what we call the material universe. Right now, ceaselessly, the universe is changing its state to what looks to the outside observer, if there is such a thing, because even that there is not such a thing, but imagine that there were such a thing, then what you would see that the universe is ceaselessly, from your point of view, you would see that the universe is ceaselessly flowing and radically ambiguous, going on and off of what? Sensations, images, perceptions, thoughts, feelings, everything that we call experience, projecting itself as this body, but also as all other bodies and all the experiences that go with all other bodies, including all other sentient beings, from cockroaches to rattlesnakes to eagles to dolphins to hippopotamuses to giraffes to camels to plants. Every sentient being is a fluctuation, and that fluctuation of the infinite gives the appearance of the infinite somehow embedded as the finite in the finite experience, which is going on and off eternally and now, here and now. The self is neither in the body nor outside the body. It is just experiencing all bodies, all minds, and all sceneries that go along with those minds and all those bodies. So, what happens to me when I die? I'll give you the short answer, but we'll explore this. As we move through this, we'll explore this. The short answer is nothing happens to me when I die. I don't go anywhere because I have no location right now. I have no location, no center location right now as a self. I'm infinite, unbounded, formless, having the experience of form and phenomena. So how can I go anywhere where I'm nowhere right now? You can't go where you already are. Okay, you can't move and stand where you're already standing. Okay, so there's nowhere to go. In a non-local universe, there's nowhere to go. You're already there. You're there. Every time you think a thought, that's where it comes from. Every time you look, that's where it comes from. Every time you hear, that's where it comes from. Every time you feel, that's where it comes from. You blink, you speak, anything you experience, whether it's a sensory experience or a cognitive experience or an emotional experience or a voluntary choice that you make, volition, will, whatever action, it comes from there. And this is a pattern of behavior of that ceaselessly changing eternally in timeless now. So what happens to me after I die? Change of state. No change of location. No change of location in space-time, just change of state. Just as there's change of state, vapor to water to ice to rainbow to stream to puddle to drop. Change of state. Now that leads to the second question that I posed today, and that was, are ghosts real? And the answer is Yes. Okay. When you look at the sun or you look towards the sun, you're looking at the sun as it existed 8 minutes ago. When you look at the moon, it's existed a little while ago, the one you're looking at right now. When you look at a star 100 million light years away, you're looking at something that may have disappeared 50 million light years away. Let's say you can look at something or somebody on some location 65 million light years away, 100 million light years away. We're looking at our planet somewhere, from somewhere there, 65 million light years away or more. They would see dinosaurs. There would be no human beings. And if they were looking at it from a few billion light years away, say 5 billion light years away, the Earth, they wouldn't see the Earth. They were looking at the Earth, say 3 billion, 3.5 billion light years away from 300 billion light years away, or so, or whatever. You just see a bunch of rocks. So, what you would see on the Earth always would be a ghost. And what we're seeing up there as the Milky Way galaxy is a ghost. But when you look at me, that's also a ghost. Why? Because when you look at me, that perception already occurred and disappeared. It was born, it died. Okay, so you never experience what is happening right now, because what is happening right now is the universe is going on and off ceaselessly, ambiguously, as infinite modes of knowing, infinite patterns of knowing, infinite experiences, infinite knowers, infinite modes of knowing, infinite objects known, infinite seers, modes of seeing, sceneries, observers, modes of observation, observed, all localizing as a point of view that we call me. But that is not me. Me is neither here nor there. Me is everywhere. And me is manifesting as all these forms and phenomena, which actually are ghostly forms. They appear solid, they appear to have a form. If you bang them with each other, they make noise. They have the experience of taste and smell and thoughts and feelings. And so they appear, oh, this is me here looking at the universe, but actually the universe is experiencing itself as all these forms, all these phenomena, eternally. And now it is also at the same time constructing, conceiving, and becoming the theater of space, time, and causality. So are ghosts real? Yes, anything you perceive is a ghost, okay, including the body mind, including the furniture in this room, including these images, including the Milky Way galaxy. It's all a ghost. It's all an apparition which is constantly changing as a result of the entire infinite basically expressing itself ceaselessly in timeless now. And you are that. You just forgot. Okay. Remember who you are. Not the dismembered self, but the remembered self. The remembered self. The dismemberment was apparent, not real. And it's apparent right now, the dismemberment. You are there, I'm here. So fascinating, isn't it? That we are already whole. We just forgot. Okay. What happens to me when I die? Change of state, number one. Is everything that I see experience a ghost, including my own body, with its mind? Yes. Who is the me? Is the infinite being changing its point of view every time it sniffles, every time it coughs, every time it looks, hears, tastes, smells, thoughts, thinks, feels, imagines. And the great mystery is it seems to be doing it through something that we give a name: Deepak Chopra or Paul Smith, Angela Donahue, whatever. That's a name that we give to a point of view. Now, is this scary? Is this exhilarating? Is this freeing? Depends on your attachment to your point of view. Once you start losing your habitual certainties and detaching from your points of view, then you see that the infinite has infinite points of view, and you are that point of view. You are a point of view. But you're also the infinite as a point of view. That's what the jiva is. Jivatma. Okay. Ruby says, I don't understand. So sorry, Ruby, but you will. Just keep silent. Just ask yourself, who am I? And where did I come from? And where am I going? And then just go into silence and see what happens. Okay, so a lot of you saying you do understand it. Some people are saying it's a little confusing to consider. Sat Prem says everything is expressing itself every second differently, and all is this. So where did it go? Sat, what's the question? I lost it. Sat Prem, what's the question? If everything is experiencing everything constantly from a different point of view. I'm sorry, I lost the question. So, do we perceive our death, manifest death, surrender? No, death is just the off between the ons, and it's happening right now. Okay, birth and death are happening right now. Very good comments. Thank you. I think we will explore this a lot. I wish I could find Sat Prem's question, but I've lost it. So there we are. Okay, my friends. Shraddha Adulka, please explain death of parents. How to. Your parents existed in your awareness when they were alive. They exist in your awareness now. They are actually symbolic representations of you, Shraddha, as you were a symbolic representation of them. But neither you nor them are actually the true self. The true self is what is experiencing itself, Shraddha, her parents, and everything else, all at the same time. Okay, all at the same time. That's who you are, an infinite being having a localized point of view. If you get rid of your point of view, you and your parents exist eternally and now in the field of possibilities and all these different forms that I'm going to explore with you. Okay, because no form is permanent. No form is anything other than a phenomenon. And no phenomenon is anything other than a fluctuation of the self. So if you just close your eyes, feel the presence of your parents, you will experience them. That's all you have to do. Sometimes you don't have to close your eyes because they have infinite forms or shapes, and so do you. As we begin in these explorations to explore what people regularly call the inner world, but it's the subtle world. It's the world that's called Sukshma Sharir, the world of the intellect, ego, the world of emotions, and we go beyond that to the self that is fluctuating as that world, then we see that actually we right now have infinite potential forms and maybe infinite actual forms in different dimensions of consciousness, not in different locations of space and time. Because space, time, and dimensionality are also dimensions of consciousness. They're part of the ghostly appearance that goes on and off eternally and now. I think that's enough for today, and I am very grateful that today at least the technology worked. So thanks once again. Change of state. Death is a change of state. And there are many changes of state, infinite. We can explore them. And number two, everything you perceive is a ghost.